Welcome to another episode of the Beyond the Sidelines podcast. Joining me, as always, Campbell and Finn. And boys, we're in a different location today. We're at Mount Cootha.
We are. We're at the Mount Cootha ski fields, boys.
It's a bit cold up here.
Yeah, could cut glass with these bad boys, but we're not going to talk about it.
Guys, can we talk about my favourite cricketer?
Yeah, which one?
Raheem Cornwall.
He's my favourite cricketer, mate.
No, as if. Oi, come on, he's my favourite cricketer.
The spin bowler just made his debut for the West Indies against India last week.
All-rounder. He's
All-rounder.
an athlete and an all-rounder.
He's a perfect definition.
He's a jack of all trades, really, but there's something a bit unique about him.
There is. Here's a little bit of audio.
Cornwall is a tall man, just bouncing.
He said he was tall.
He is tall. He's 198 centimetres.
He is.
Yeah, he's a big lad. Big is an understatement, I think.
All right, let's not beat around the bush. He's also 140 kilograms.
That's
I
a
love
lot
it.
of weight.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
And he got his first wicket. Congrats to him. Of course, that was Cheteshwar Pujara, which is quite a big scalp. That's
Definitely.
He'd definitely be happy with that one.
Unfortunately, they lost the test. That was the India versus the West Indies. Our boy Raheem Cornwall playing for the West Indies.
But cricket won the day.
Cricket did win the day.
It definitely did.
Definitely.
Now he becomes the heaviest Test cricketer in
Does he?
history, surpassing Warwick Armstrong, the former Australia captain.
He's honestly such a hero.
He
Such
is.
a hero.
He's not very fit though. That's the problem. So
Anyway, we had a great guest this week.
We certainly did.
We do.
We say that every week.
We
but
keep coming up with these.
if you have any
guests.
describing words for us to describe our guests, please send us a message other than
Let us know.
amazing,
Unbelievable.
massive, unbelievable, great.
we need to read more, guys.
I think we do.
Yeah.
Let's go back to grade 2.
Anyway, we had Guy Hamilton this week talking about Intrust Super Cup, and you can listen to it right now. Joining us is Guy Hamilton, 5'8" for the South Logan Magpies in the Intrust Super Cup. Guy, how are you?
Yeah, good, thanks, boys. How yourselves?
Yeah, good. Cheers for coming along, mate.
No worries, all good.
Now, you've been playing Intrust Super Cup for 4 years now.
Yep.
What's that experience been like?
Yeah, you say 4 years, it seems long now. I finished up in my 20s and came back to Brisbane and sort of jumped straight back into playing against men, but it's been good, mate. It's it's a pretty high level, sort of playing against some ex or future NRL players each week in, week out, so it's definitely enjoyable and yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And you mentioned future NRL players. You used to play with David Fafita, correct?
Yeah, Dave Feedy. Yep.
Yeah, how was that?
Yeah, good, mate. He, I think he only lasted 3 or 4 games with us. Obviously, he's
Understandable.
a freak. He came on first game. He's come on the field off the bench, and he's run the length of the field off a scrum, and everyone just sat back and said, "This kid's 18." So obviously he's going to have a big career, mate, and a big future in rugby league. That's for sure.
Yeah, he's younger than me, which is scary.
Yeah, he's younger than all of us, I'm pretty sure.
I felt old. I was nearly 6 years older than him, or 5 years older, and I'm looking at him and he's bloody triple the size of me. And he's like mature as well, so he's in for a definitely big career.
Well, they're talking him up as $1 million man in rugby league at the moment. Do you think he's worth that yet?
Potentially he is, I guess. Obviously looking at him and what he could be, definitely worth $1 million. I'm not too sure at the moment. I guess it's a lot of money for a forward sort of thing. I'm not saying the forwards don't deserve the big money because they do a lot of the tough work, but in saying that, in a couple of years' time, I definitely say he's going to be worth $1 million. I don't think the Broncos will let him go. No. Obviously, they see his futures.
Well, they shouldn't.
No, they won't. And the Broncos usually keep the players they want. They'll throw the money at him. So I know he's contracted for next year already with the Broncos, so whatever he's on already. But after that, if you have another big breakout year again next year, I'd say that money's going to creep up a bit for him, half his luck.
Just the fact he's so young too, though. He is a forward. But the fact he's so young, if you're chucking $1 million at him, can he take that pressure?
He's like I said, he's a pretty mature kid. But us, then again, the Broncos and his management will have to, look after him through that stage, because you do see a few young kids, fly off the handles a bit when they got a lot of money thrown at him. But just knowing him for the time I have, I think he's definitely a mature kid. He's got his head screwed on, and I dare say the people through the Broncos would, look through him. And I think there's Payne Haas, there's a few other people in the same sort of situation. They're all close with him, so I guess that transition of copping the money is going to be a bit easy for him, and there's a lot of people around him doing the same thing.
Well, he's in that Broncos system as well, which is quite professional.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think he'd do as well at a Gold Coast Titans maybe, or a Warriors early on in his career, or do you think he might struggle with the pressure?
Footy-wise, he'd probably do all right, but I think he looks like he's settled in here at the Bronx. He's obviously at a young age, and he's playing consistent footy already, and he's obviously reached the highs of Origin already, and Obviously, the Broncos have nurtured him through at a young age from school when he signed with them. So I probably think there's probably a little bit of loyalty he's probably going to show back and at the moment, and he might have to take a little pay cut for now. But in the long road, where else would you want to play? You're playing in Brisbane for the Broncos. It's pretty high achievement. Doesn't get much better than that.
Definitely. And you mentioned before that there's some players who, when they get that money, some young players, that they kind of fall off the rails a bit, go a bit AWOL. Have you seen or played with any of those kind of players who the money's gotten to their head a little bit? Any that you can think of?
No, not too many. Obviously, you see the ones on telly and things, not just in rugby league, but in all genres of sports or even music. And at a young age, obviously, when you've got so much money, got so much to do, you can spend it on whatever you want. There's no sort of limits for you. Obviously, there's going to come a time where you're getting bored of what you got and you want to get something else. But no, not too much. I guess rugby league's sort of changing at the moment. There's a lot of no nonsense in it, and if you do something at the moment, you're sort of gone. So it's too much to lose, I think, at the moment for people to be able to ruin it all.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll talk about your season this year with the South Logan Magpies.
Yep.
You kicked one field goal.
Yeah.
When was that?
It was against North. Yeah, against North. We started pretty slow. We got back in the contest and down by I think a draw actually with a couple of minutes to go and took a crack and luckily put it over. Then we ended up scoring on the hooter anyway to win even more. So it was a good win against North. They're going really well this year.
For sure.
We were in a bit of a slump at the time too, so sort of changed our season a bit, and then we went on a bit of a run. But just lucky you put it over, I guess.
For sure. Your season as a whole, though, as the Magpies, how do you rate your season? Did you live up to your pre-season expectations and that type of thing?
I think, probably not. They put up a sort of scheduled sort of teams where people should finish, and I think they put us in the top 4 on paper. We had a pretty quality side. They signed really well this year, and the players we got back from the Broncos was pretty quality as well. So we probably should have definitely gone a bit better. It was a bit disappointing, but sort of we had these seasons every now and then, and at the start of the year we did have a few injuries and little things went against us, but there's no excuse to that. But we just had a chat the other day, and obviously now we're just going to have to try and keep our squad together and learn from it and bounce into pre-season in 6 or 7 weeks and start again and hopefully turn around next year.
What were some of the stronger sides you came up against? What sides do you reckon will go all the way?
Well, I didn't get to play against them, but obviously the Sunny Coast, they only lost one game all year, which is I think nearly unheard of. And they're allocated with the Melbourne Storm, and obviously the Melbourne Storm, how successful they are year in year out. So the players they get back each week and the players they sign and have there is pretty quality. So they'll be pretty hard to knock off this year. And Burleigh, obviously they have had the same team for a while, and the same thing, they got a pretty quality roster, and every time you play them, there's a bash up, so they'll be pretty hard to beat. And I think Wynnum have had a pretty good year as well. They signed pretty well, and they've been going as well, right as well. So sort of if you get them 3 teams in there, obviously they're going to be hard to beat. But when you make finals, it's a sort of whole new competition. So start again, and any team can win on their day. That's why they're playing finals.
And you mentioned Sunny Coast. You played there back in 2017.
Yeah.
Was the culture as it is now back then? Was it a winning team?
I think when we got there, the year I got there, they just made a prelim final and got knocked out. But before that, they were a team that finished sort of second or last each year. And then Craig Ingebrigtsen, Trigger, he went up there as a coach and sort of changed the whole club and turned it into a pretty successful club. And they got beaten in the prelim. Then I went up there and a few other boys went up there, and we had a really good year. We made the grand final and got beaten. And then sort of from there, I think them 2 years back to back, and then obviously to now, another 2 years, they sort of turned into a club that you expect to make finals week in, week out. And I think they've allocated really well with the Melbourne Storm, and the Melbourne Storm are sending some really good players to them, which helps. And it's a really good place up there. Obviously, everyone knows the Sunny Coast. It's a sort of holiday destination. So, they've got a sort of one team, one town. Everyone gets behind them, and it's a really good place, and it's a really good club. I couldn't have a bad word to say about them.
What was it like playing in that grand final at Suncorp in front of plenty of fans? I was watching the highlights the other day. Yeah. Plenty of people showed up. What was that like as an experience?
Oh, that's probably one of my best footy experiences this far for sure, especially against PNG. Anytime you play PNG, wherever you are, it's going to be packed. At PNG, people just love rugby league, and but that crowd was just. I felt like I was playing in PNG. It was just ridiculous. It was loud. It was, you could just hear the vibrations. It was amazing, and definitely one of my best footy moments this far. Just running out on the Suncorp, I guess, and packed, and with your mates you've played with all year and your family's there, and they're all wearing, they had Guy Hamilton shirts on and everything. It was just an amazing day, and we're winning all day, and we got beaten right on the hooter if you probably saw it, and it was bloody heartbreaking. But no, it was an awesome experience, and something that I hopefully one day want to get back to there and do it again.
For sure. And last year, 2018, you were one of the top scorers in the competition, at least in the regular season. 78 goals and 176 points.
Yeah.
How was that season comparing to this season, do you think?
Yeah, that season last year was actually a really good season. We started well. I think we went 9 or 10 from the first 11, and then we're sitting first or second, and then we just got hit with so many injuries, and of Davey and Tommy Flegler's playing, like a lot of the boys, Paddy Mago, they all went up and played NRL, and we had injuries with our boys too, so we went from going second, and we've lost about 5 or 6 in a row. We could barely put a team on the field, which was really unfortunate because we thought we were in for a really big back end of the year. Personally, I thought I had an alright year. I finished on top point scorer, but when you got players like Davey and them scoring tries and that for you, it's pretty easy. You're normally kicking from under the post, so. But no, it was a good year last year. But same thing, we thought we were going to go right this year, but these things happen. Teams get injuries and suspensions and things like that, and the Broncos do take some players up, which for our club we want to see our players playing in the top level, even if it means us missing out. That we want them to play at their top level and reaching their dreams and goals. So for us, that's a good achievement for them. So you can't really complain too much about that.
How does it feel when you see players progress up to the senior level, up to the Broncos and different teams like that? How does that feel as a player playing with them?
It's awesome. Like obviously for us, for personally, that'd be my dream and my goal to do. And you see someone else achieve it, and you just look and you know how they're feeling. You know what their families would be feeling, and you see like all the hard work they do at training, in games, and all the little things they do. So when they do achieve their goal and their dream, it's awesome to sit back and watch. And I've got heaps of friends and mates that are playing first grade at the moment that definitely deserve it, and it's good to just sit back every now and then and just watch them do their thing. So I'm sure if I ever got the opportunity, they'd be happy for me. So yeah, it's awesome just to you see your mates running around at that level.
Have you ever been close with a contract offer or anything like that?
I did. I obviously went to the Bulldogs for a couple of years and then finished up there, and I finished my 20s there and decided to come home, and then I went to the Sunny Coast and did a pre-season for 6 weeks in Melbourne, which was like probably other than that grand final, it's probably the best things I've ever done in my footy. But since then it's been a year and a half now, so I'm just trying to play some consistent footy. But sometimes you just got to be in the right place at the right time, or you got to have a bit of luck go your way. So I'm just chipping away at the moment and see what happens, hopefully.
Well, that pre-season with the Storm, what was that like? Because their culture is just second to none. It's incredible.
Mate, it's honestly the craziest 6 weeks of my life. I've never enjoyed but hated something so much in my life. It was the toughest thing I've ever done, and we did remember my first wrestle session we did, and they're obviously renewed for wrestling, but it was just a bash up, mate, and they didn't care how big or who you are, what position you are, man. I'm standing there like, got Nelson running at me, Nelson Solomona running at me, and then we went on a torture camp to finish it, which is like 2 nights, 3 days, no sleep. Jeez. And it's just,
oh my God,
it's just like you got rations, like you got 3 army guys take you got penalties for swearing, penalties for like all different things, and you don't sleep. You do like, they test you and mentally things that you don't, nothing to do with football. Craig Bellingsley just likes to see how you react under pressure, and when sometimes you go into reverse mode or what, he just wants to see what you do. And it was the toughest 3 days I've ever gone through. It was crazy. Didn't sleep. At one stage you start seeing things, and you start, it's just ridiculous. But it's something they do for all their rookies and all their players coming through. That's sort of like their initiation to the club, because they all gone through it. So it's something ridiculous. But yeah, it's sort of the best thing that I've probably ever done in my life.
So how did you react under that pressure?
Oh, it was tough. Honestly, it went so long, but I don't remember anything. Like, it was just ridiculous. I remember just how much pain I was in and how tired I was, and just you sort of bond with people in that camp for so long because of what you went through together. But I remember getting home and I slept. I think I slept for like 12 hours, 13 hours straight, and then I woke up and it was like 4 a.m. or something, and we just went for a drive to find KFC because that's all we wanted was KFC, and nothing was open. We drove around, and then we said we got to go home, so we went home, went back to sleep for another 12 hours. Like, our heads were everywhere. We're just in a crazy sense. But mate, it was something that like you can't really explain. You have to do, and anyone that's gone on it would tell you, mate, it's just ridiculous what they do.
Is that something that a lot of teams do? Do you know?
I think a lot of teams do mimic it now, like doing their their army camps and things. It's called IDQ camp, so it's called I Don't Quit, and it's they're really renewed for it. Like they do it every year. All their rookies, all their first year people to the club do it, and mate, it's you'll listen to it a bit. People do talk about it, but it's one of those things like you can't really explain the pain or what you go through mentally. It's just something you got to do, and I'm really lucky to actually do it, even though it hurt. Like it's just something not many people get the opportunity to do, and it's something that definitely was an experience I'll have forever.
I remember seeing footage of the Queensland Reds. I think they did it last year with Brad Thorne, and it just looked insane.
I think there's a lot of teams now, obviously because of the success Melbourne get out of it and how mentally tough the Melbourne players are, and they put a lot of it down to that sort of thing. But so a lot of clubs definitely probably mimic it now and do it themselves. But yeah, mate, we just went out into a bush, like genuinely out in the bush in Melbourne, and he dropped one of our things where they dropped us off with this. We got this big bag with like nothing in it, but they put bricks and things in it just to make it heavier, and you got to carry this baton around as your gun all like the whole 2-3 days. Jeez. And things like that, and you can't drop it, and they give you like accessories that you have to hold, and so you always think it, and then they might give you like a 30-minute break, but while you're in your 30-minute break, you have to write down everything you learnt from your drill, so you never stop thinking. So you never constantly get a break. So, it's just ridiculous, man. I remember the last night, you got to stand by a tree holding this pole 200 metres apart from each person, and you got to stand there for 6 hours and guard your tree while they would come and try and touch your tree. And they might not even come and touch it. Like, he came once in the whole 6 hours, but you're not allowed to sleep or anything. And this is after 2 nights, no sleep. So you're just like in your own little... Honestly, it was a zombie, mate. I was just chasing clouds. And,
loopy.
It's ridiculous, mate. It'd probably be good to be on their side to watch what we're doing.
Yeah.
Bloody hilarious, but it was definitely an experience.
And more important question, go-to KFC.
Yeah.
What's your go-to?
Cheese and bacon zinger combo for sure. Load up, and nuggets, and lately they got that family box I've been getting. It's probably cheaper. It's like $28 and you get like 4 burgers. But KFC is definitely favourite.
The diet of a rugby league
not
player.
during the season, of course.
I've actually got a pretty bad diet, but I do enough running in that for me. I've somehow never put weight on.
Work it off.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, you went to Keebra Park State High School. Yep. How was that for your development as a rugby league player?
Yeah, Keebra was massive for me coming through, I guess. Like, we trained probably as hard there as I've trained anywhere else. You know, they put you through your paces there, and they teach you from a young age. Obviously your training, your eating, your gym, all them sort of things. So you learn from a young age what it's like to sort of be in a professional life sort of thing, and they have high expectations down there and rules and things like that. So obviously the players that come through there, you can see there's a massive amount of players that come through there and go to the next level. So and just obviously, like, it's not that you're not just there for footy, you're there for school as well, but just the people you meet there, obviously in the footy circle, it's just ridiculous how close you get with them, and you got a bond for life. So school obviously is really good, but the friends I met there was just amazing.
So rugby league was massive there. But how did you then go from that to sevens?
I don't even really know. I think we played sevens actually at Keebra. What happens was at the end of the year they play a sevens tournament in Keebra. Just all of a sudden they said, let's just jump in it. It's a bit of fun. We'll chuck the league boys in there and see if we can compete with some of the union schools. And they chucked them in, and I think they won it like 2 or 3 years in a row. Keebra did, and then it was my year for grade 12, and I went in it, and I think we went alright, and I think I got the award or something for the player of the tournament or something like that. And then one of the players, men, just come up to me and said, "Would you like to come down to the QAS or AIS or something in Canberra, and just come and like join our camp for a bit and just see how you go?" And I was like, "Yeah, why not?" So I went down, and the next thing I was just playing a bit of sevens with him, and then we went to the Youth Olympics then for Australia, and ended up playing in that, and just one thing led to another sort of thing, and it just sort of was my game for a bit because I was just really like sort of quick and a lot of space and things like that. So I did that for a little bit, but and then I sort of went back to league then. But definitely that lifestyle would have been amazing. Like all they do is travel, and I think they party a fair bit, so it probably would have been good for me.
How do you compare the two? Is sevens a lot more difficult than rugby league, do you reckon?
I don't know about difficult. Obviously, there's a lot more room. I just found it tough. Like, obviously, I was like, all right, because there's a lot of room in that. But if I got tackled, I didn't really know what to do then. Like, I wasn't really good. I was not a really big body, so I didn't know how to maul. I didn't know what to do. So
you can't just start wriggling around.
I was like struggling at that point because like some of the players that obviously were playing it grew up with rugby unions. They sort of knew the formula and the basic rules and things like that. But I was just sort of, every time I got tackled, if I got tackled, I'd just sort of throw it, and everyone was like, "What are you doing?" But no, I had a lot of fun doing it. Definitely, it was definitely like another experience going to that. We played in the Youth Olympics, and we actually got beaten in the final for the gold against South Africa. So, and they were another kettle of fish as well. They're some bloody really, obviously, what are they? Really athletic boys there. So, but yeah, it was really good to be able to do that, I guess.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I read a report that you knocked back a contract with the Titans to continue playing sevens. Is that true?
I wouldn't have been. I was only 18 or 19, so I probably would have been like a development thing to join. But yeah, at the time I just finished school and I was just having a bit of fun. I didn't know where I was doing for a bit, so that's when I was playing sevens. And then then I went to East and played a bit of cup, and then I got signed by the Dogs. So it didn't last too long there. So just went down to Sydney for a couple of years there, and got to play a bit of footy down there.
What was it like at the Dogs, at the Bulldogs system? Was it a great, good club?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely a family club. I enjoyed my time there. I was there for 2 and a bit years. I moved into the Bulldogs house. I was only like 18 when I went down, so it was a big thing moving away from home and going down to another state. But moved into the Bulldogs house down there, and they looked after me really well, and spent a couple of years down there. And I did a pre-season as well with NRL down there, and with Desi Hasler, and that was like another really good experience with what he can do and what he knows about the footy. So I wouldn't have a bad word to say about the Doggies. They were really good to me and enjoyed my time down there.
Sorry, one more question. Guy, Sunny Coast. There's been a lot of talk in the NRL over the last week about expansion, relocation. Could the Sunny Coast house a rugby league team? Or are they just that? Are they really just feeding off the Storm?
Obviously it's a good town, and I'm not sure if there's enough room, enough people sort of down there to get behind it. But
it's very spread out too. Hey.
Yeah, I know that. Obviously, like Queensland rugby league is massive, so there's going to be a time where a club might have to come in eventually, because obviously the Broncos, there's one Titans sort of. I don't know about the Titans at the moment. Like, I don't know if they're coming or going. I think they've got maybe a year or two to see how they go. They've got to eventually do something. They can't just consistently finish where they're going all the time. So I'm not sure what they're going to do there, and I'm not sure if the Gold Coast is really the right area. It's sort of a holiday destination, but yeah, I'm not too sure what they're going to do there. There's been a few, I remember a few times they've spoke about, I think Ipswich was one, and then there was Rockhampton or Mackay or something. Yeah. And so I'm not too sure what they're going to do. Obviously Brisbane is pretty big. It could be a good chance to bring another team in there. But
I don't know if they could have a second team in Brisbane.
Yeah,
the Broncos are just so set.
Yeah, and it's obviously the history behind the Broncos. People just support them from day one, so I don't know what sort of support they'd get. But Queensland Rugby League, I think, is just too big. There's too much talent in Queensland, and we lose a lot of talent in Queensland to the Sydney teams and to other teams purely because of obviously not another team or not enough teams to be picked up by. But hopefully one day they bring it in. It'd be good for the rugby league, good for Queensland, I guess, too. But I'm not too sure when or why. So.
And who's your tip for the Interest title this year?
Interest? Sunny Coast would be hard to beat, mate. To lose one game all year, that's pretty crazy. Unless Melbourne get a few injuries or something or other, and the Melbourne feeder players have to go up, I think that'd be pretty hard to beat. They've been the standard in the benchmark sort of all year. But Redcliffe have also come pretty good late, and they won it last year. So if they can keep their side on the field and see how far they can push a few teams, they'll be pretty dangerous, I think, too. But if I had to pick one, I'd probably go Sunny Coast at the moment.
And on that note, we'll wrap up.
Yep.
Thank you, Guy Hamilton.
No worries. Thanks
Cheers,
for having
Guy.
me, boys.
Welcome back to the Mount Cootha ski slopes, boys.
Still very cold.
Freezing.
Yeah, I was shredding some ice before.
Shredding ice?
Snow.
Yeah, there you go.
Bingo,
got it. Not the brightest
I
part.
meant snow. Well, didn't Guy Hamilton say some great things about his career?
Yeah,
I think he said some pretty average stuff about his career, like nothing really too interesting.
What is this with
Rip
you?
India, mate.
Why is it always me?
Why always me?
You're an easy target, mate.
Yeah, obviously.
No, it was pretty cool,
When you
wasn't
host.
it? He started off as a sevens player, or at least ambitious for it. So why did he switch to league?
I have no idea.
Came from the same school as Benji Marshall as well.
Did
Keebra Park out.
The one fact you knew going into the interview.
The god himself.
The god
Benji
Benji.
Marshall.
I thought the most interesting thing was the Melbourne Storm military-style training camp thing.
Oh, wasn't that unreal?
I had no idea that was a thing, but it's so interesting. I was like,
And he
3
says
days.
A few clubs do it as well.
Yeah,
so-
well, it must be a popular thing. Like, I've heard of similar things, but I didn't know it was like 3 days not sleeping.
Mm.
Are we doing one for team building?
You can do one, mate.
Yeah, Finn, you go. We'll be there.
Be
Yeah,
on the sidelines, army drill.
we'll commentate on it. How does that sound?
Sounds pretty unfair, but I mean,
Yeah, sounds good
Finn,
to me.
how you doing? Oh, it's middle of the night, and I haven't slept for 3 days.
it actually seemed really rough though.
It seemed very rough.
Really rough, but I mean, that's what it takes to be an athlete, right?
It does indeed. On the talk of footy, let's
Yes.
talk about a bit of rugby
A little
league.
bit of rugby league, okay. The
League.
QRL. The last round of the regular season took place in the QRL.
Shout out to Tom Gilbert, right?
Yep. Big shout out to Tom Gilbert. He scored in the 73rd minute to grab a late victory for the Blackhawks against the East Tigers, 22-20.
Gussie, how important is that for the Blackhawks this season?
Well, the Blackhawks are now top 4. They finished top 4, so they'll get the week. They play this week, but if they win, they'll get a week off and go straight to a qualifying final.
What happens if
Huge.
they lose?
If they lose, they get another chance, which is
good.
also good. Yeah, if in your hopes to play finals.
Is it? I don't know. I think
in
if
the
you
grand
want
final.
to pursue a title, getting knocked out is probably the right way to go.
Start losing.
Oh,
Sorry,
yeah,
Angus.
take the-
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Sorry,
It's
Angus.
hosting duties. That's what happens.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll get on to the Redcliffe Dolphins game. They've continued their crazy run of form as well. They thumped the Mackay Cutters 48-10 at Dolphins Stadium.
They've shot up to 7th. Well, that's where they
Yep.
finished, but they were far from that
Oh yeah.
2 months ago.
They were destined to miss finals a couple of months ago. They went over for 9 tries in this game, including a hat-trick to Josh Behag. There was also 5 sin bins. I don't think I've seen 5 sin bins in a game of rugby league for a long time.
Were they all at once, or
I think there was about
Could've been a fight or something.
Yeah.
I think there was about 3 at once, and then the other 2 were
Bit of
different points
argy-bargy,
in the
maybe.
second half.
Bit of
I'll tell you what,
argy-bargy.
Yeah, it must have been a fight.
that
Bring back
opens
the
the
beef.
debate from a few weeks ago in the NRL. Gus Gould shared it. Should rugby league go down to 12v2? 12v12, not 12v2.
12v2, that'd be a lopsided one.
Well, exactly.
No, 12v12.
I mean, State of Origin's pretty much the same thing anyway.
What do you mean?
I mean, 10 men or 11 men don't show up for New South Wales, and I mean, if Darius Boyd's in the Queensland team, he's pretty useless anyway.
He's not playing for
It's
Queensland.
waste of space.
He's pretty far from that.
He's pretty much.
Oh
gone.
yeah, he's gone.
But no, what do you guys think? 12v12.
I like the idea. It opens the game up. I know I was watching a NRL game a week or 2 ago. It was Parramatta and the Bulldogs. It was a pretty stale game. Nothing was really happening. As soon as there were 2 sin bins in that game, it came to life.
Those
right?
sin bins were at the same
Yeah.
time they went there.
Yeah, I think 2 minutes after.
As in, they were both off at the same
They
time.
were both off, at the same time. So each side had one less player, and the game just sprung to life. Even though there were no points, it was still just unbelievable. It was great to watch.
There needs to be some attraction for rugby league teams to wanting to go to the corner, because it's far too conventional now for teams just to truck it up through the middle for
Up
the
the
first
guts.
4,
Yeah.
and then maybe spread it out wide for the 5th before kicking it. There needs to be an incentive or a reason to go wide, and this would be that, wouldn't it?
Mm.
So
Yeah.
get rid of the lock, and just play with 12.
Mm.
Yeah, for those avid, or not avid, for those kind of people trying to get into league, it's a bit hard. I know from personal experience, it's a bit hard because, yeah, you're right. Like, it's literally run up the guts.
Yeah, it's very structured. It's a very structured game now.
Same thing.
I was looking back at a 1975 grand final, Roosters
As you do.
Dragons. Yeah, well, I
Mm,
love the Roosters,
glory
so
days.
I'm gonna watch all the grand final wins.
That's weird because that was them before money.
Mm.
Yeah, but you what?
Nice.
Yeah,
No comment. No comment.
Can you beep on this if I
Yeah.
swear at someone?
Yeah.
You. Anyway, okay. Right. What was I saying? Okay, the Roosters Dragons, 1975 grand final. It was so much more open than the games you'd see these days. They were passing the ball around, hot potato football. It was some of the best rugby league I've seen, and maybe this brings up the question: should we be trying to go back to rugby league back then? That kind of style.
Mate, back
That
then,
Harlem Globetrotters
everyone was my size.
sort of.
Yeah,
Well-
mate, you would have loved it.
I
Yeah,
would
well-
have thrived.
I think we all would have been able to play rugby league back then. I mean, we're probably not tough enough.
So just talk
God,
yourself up.
they were some tough boys back then.
Talk yourself up, mate.
Anyway, about the Redcliffe Dolphins, they have now scored 195 points for and 14 points against in the last 4 games. Continuing that just unbelievable form. The most surprising result of the week was the Sunshine Coast Falcons and Ipswich Jets.
They didn't win.
Yeah, they played out a 28-point draw.
Oh my
so they
God.
still didn't lose.
No.
But
It was a pretty late. It was a clutch conversion by Cooper Johns in the 76th minute that secured the draw. That's not what they wanted.
Maddie's son.
Maddie's son, but I mean,
Good on him.
it's not a loss. So
No, it's not.
well, we've now got our final series for the QRL sorted. So we've got the Tweed Seagulls playing the Dolphins. We've got the Devils against the Tigers, Wynnum Manly against the Bears, and the Falcons and the Blackhawks.
And you mentioned the Dolphins there.
Yep.
Someone who played at Dolphins Stadium last week was Brizzy Raw in the FFA Cup.
the FA Cup.
That was interesting to watch. I remember we went to, obviously we mentioned this last week, we went to the game at Perry Park, but then we went back to Finn's house and we watched, you weren't there, Gussie, sorry mate.
Yeah, I was
invited.
a bit sick after that game.
Don't
Yeah,
bring it
well you
up.
gave it to me, so.
Yeah,
But it was an interesting game. I mean, it went to penalties and, I mean, the Raw just didn't really perform. They were playing Central Coast from my memory.
that's disappointing. Central Coast were last place team.
Yeah.
You'd expect better from the Raw.
You would. And
It's a preseason hit out there, boys.
Yeah,
it
How
is.
much do teams really care about this competition with the A-League starting in, a month?
It's tough, hey.
but to lose to a side that trialled Usain Bolt, like, come on.
Well, that's the
Like,
big
serious?
talking point.
That's the benchmark. Bring back Usain.
Yeah, give him some
Yeah.
pace down the wing.
His,
But anyway.
his 2 goals against that Central Coast
I
select
think-
team.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Was
My
it
God.
Campbelltown or something he
Probably.
played against?
See,
Probably.
we forget their names because he just outshone them all, right?
He was just too good.
I mean, we were talking about the game we went to Perry Park. We saw our would we say it's our new team?
The Strikers.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah, our adopted team. They played in the NPL and drew 1-1 against the Western Pride. We also saw Penn Power beat Moreton Bay by 3. And then City beat, it was 3-1 between Penn Power and Moreton Bay. But then Brisbane City won 5-2 against South West Queensland.
That's a good win.
Gold Coast Knights beat Olympic, who we saw play the week before in the FFA, 4-2. And Brizzy Raw, the academy team, 1-1 against the Magpies Crusaders. Boring result that I'm not going to talk about.
The Gold Coast Knights have been a great side this year.
Been a great side, but an even better
They've done
side
very well.
has been the Lions
Yeah.
FC, which is just confusing as a whole. But they won 7-1 against Sunshine Coast
And
FC NPL.
They've got semi-finals footy coming up now, so they're no
They
doubt
do.
very excited for that. They secured the minor premiership, as did the women's team, so congratulations
They
to them.
did.
Yep.
The Lions will play Olympic next week in the 1v4 semi-final.
Mm-hmm.
And in the 2v3 semi-final, we've got the Gold Coast Knights against Peninsula Power.
That'll be a
Indeed.
good game.
We've also got a bit of AFL news. You mentioned to me before when we were talking about, because it's finals weekend this weekend. First games are tomorrow. That's a Saturday, and you'll see. Thursday is actually the first game, which has already been. We're recording this on a Wednesday, so we don't know what that score is. That will be Eagles versus so West Coast Eagles versus the Bombers. So it should be a cakewalk for the Weagles. And then you've
The
got
Weagles.
on Friday you've got Geelong versus Collingwood. That'll be an interesting game.
But, mate, there's one that everyone wants to know about.
Everyone. Giants versus Bulldogs on the Saturday.
Not quite.
That's at 3:20.
You missed the mark there.
That's basically the curtain raiser for the Brisbane Lions versus
Yes.
Richmond
There we go.
at the Gabba. First time since 2009, I believe. Finals footy for the Brizzy Lions. So that'll be awesome. You also mentioned to me Taylor Walker of the Adelaide Crows after a really disappointing season. I think they finished up at like 9th or 11th at the end of the day.
After 5 years as captain of that side, he stepped down.
Yeah, as co-captain with Rory Sloan. Like it's
overdue.
It's dire.
It's
he's
o-
still one of their best players.
He's one of their best players, but is he a good captain?
I don't think so. I think he carries on a bit too much. He has a
Agree.
bit of a sook.
But at least now he can step away and he can concentrate on his footy.
He
And
can,
I think
he
that's
can.
that's what he needs to do.
Yeah.
Because the Crows, they have the list or they have the potential to contest or at least go into the finals?
100%.
Go deep?
Oh, definitely.
But they may be losing a key piece of that roster. They may be losing Eddie Betts back to Carlton,
I'd love to
his
see
original club. I would love to see it too.
that.
Oh, yeah.
Eddie Betts is an absolute star, and he has been for years, obviously. He's getting into his twilight years. Retire at Carlton. Can't go wrong.
Getting into his twilight years, though, he's got experience. So
He
if he
does.
goes to a young team like Carlton,
Mm.
that could work wonders.
They could be a dark horse for next year, especially with Paddy Cripps
No,
coming through.
what?
I reckon they could.
Oh, it'll definitely
Watch
improve
the
that
space.
Carlton side. I wouldn't be
100%.
surprised if
They need
if
help
they're
up front.
challenging for finals.
Paddy Cripps is an absolute gun. But in any other case, we've got the NEFL as well, which the Lions in the NEFL team had a bye last week, and so did the Southport Sharks, first and second.
That seems to be the general theme in AFL. Everyone gets a
does.
week off,
Yeah, I know. I
Yeah.
don't know why. Well,
except if you're Sydney Uni, Aspley, and the Giants. So
you got it right.
I did.
You got it right.
Thank
you.
They all
Right.
played against each other. The victors in those games were Sydney Swans
Close
and
game,
Aspley
that
Hornets.
one.
It was a
Close
close game, which was good to see. And yeah, I mean, this week you've got two Queensland games. You've got Aspley versus Southport Sharks at Southport, and you got Lions at the Gabba, 1 p.m. on Sunday.
That's against the Swans. That'll be a
against the
bit
Swans.
That might be, yeah.
a curtain raiser to the Richmond game, right?
No, it won't.
No?
That's on a Sunday, and the Richmond's playing on Saturday.
We're going to cut this part.
Yeah, we're going to cut this part. No, we're not. I'm the editor. No, we're not. But
I decide what stays in and what goes.
yes, I am the almighty. But we had a big conversation earlier about the Jeff Horn fight.
Michael
That's right.
Zarafa.
Michael Zarafa.
That was a 9th round KO. The Hornet
Yeah.
goes down.
Mm.
Boys, I have to question where his mind is at the moment. Where it's
Yeah.
been, where his determination or motivation comes
Well, he
from.
just had a kid, didn't he? That could.
Not sure.
I'm pretty sure he just had a kid.
How's
Could
that
have done.
how's that a factor?
Oh, it's a pretty
distraction.
big factor. It's a
It's a distraction, but I mean,
have you seen Creed 2, mate? Jeez. He has a kid in that, doesn't he?
I saw half of it, but then I had to get off the plane.
Did you?
Yeah.
Is that on the way down to Melbourne?
That was a few months ago.
A
now,
few months
actually.
ago.
Yeah, he was interrupted for 3 weeks from training because of his second child.
Oh, good on him, though. Congratulations,
Yeah.
Jeff.
Yeah, it's a
Should be winning fights, but
bit of an excuse though, because
yeah, you can't win if you got a kid.
you're a boxer. You should, I don't know, not put that to rest or anything. Or
It shouldn't be part of your
family's
mental
more
space.
important than boxing.
100%.
then why are you still
It should,
fighting?
and it should be.
Then why are you
Well,
still fighting?
Because it's his. Obviously, it's
It's
his
making-
passion as well, but you're never going to put that above family.
Yeah, it also puts food on the table. So
Yeah.
His trainer's come out and he's talked about how Horn before this fight he was eating pizza, he's drinking Coke. He wasn't preparing like a boxer should.
mate, he sounds like an icon to me. We were talking earlier about Rakeem Cornwall.
Mm.
I'm sure he does the same. Love the man. Why are you skinny shaming Jeff Horn?
I am. I'm sorry. I need to be more PC. No, but
I don't think you can shame Jeff Horn's body.
Yeah,
It's
no,
pretty chiseled.
it is.
Look, when you watch that fight though, Horn went down in the 9th round and he looked out of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
he was beaten up.
Now, he looked out of it like the ref or his trainers, Jeff Horn's corner. They should have stopped that fight.
Oh yeah, he looked pretty bloodied up.
No,
Yeah.
not even that. He didn't know where he was.
Yeah,
You know, he might have survived the 10 count, but I mean, you've got to be a bit realistic of, where's this bloke's head at?
I mean, yeah. There's lots of questions about that just because of how dangerous the sport really is.
But how can you make boxing safer?
Headgear, I guess, which they do in the Olympics, don't they? So,
If you're an amateur boxer.
amateur, yeah.
But anyway.
Headgear will be the move
I
going
don't think
forward.
he'd try
No,
and.
it won't.
Yeah, it will.
I don't know why. I don't know
I
why.
think they will just because they'll go CTE, which is a big issue.
It is, but I
Yeah,
think
but it's boxing. You're
Sorry, I
paid-
had to cough, boys.
You're paid to punch someone in the head.
Yeah, but it's not good for
it's
you.
The whole, yeah, I know.
But you can still punch someone in the head with it. It'll mean
That's-
for longer fights.
That's the thing. But that's what they sign up. They know the risks of boxing. Like that's
Still
why
the-
I don't do it because I don't want to get punched in the
That's
head.
Yeah,
why
but
you
it
don't-
still means you
No,
don't
no,
want. You still don't
that's-
want people getting CTE and getting
Oh, no,
like
of
being
course not, but-
suicidal.
You're a boxer. You got to kind of expect that. Okay, there's gonna be some, some.
But a lot of them are trying to
problems
get
in the
out of.
future.
A lot of them are trying to get out of bad home lives or bad situations from lower socioeconomic
Yeah, well-
situations, and it's tough. It's
all in
really
all,
tough.
the Battle of Bendigo did not go in the Hornets' way.
It did not.
So
no.
it'll be very interesting to see how he bounces back
Mm.
or what his next fight can be because is he past it now? You know,
Could be.
I think he's lost 2 fights in a row now, or he lost to one of the Americans
I think so.
about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
So,
But
I mean,
a win coming from the Battle of Bendigo is that they ditched the ring girls for that game, or for that bout, should I say.
what are your thoughts on that, Campbell?
I like it. It's good. I mean, I've got no objections to it. I think it's great. I mean, I'm sure ring women don't like being, what's the word?
Objectified.
Objectified. that's the
Although,
one.
would you consider it a job loss? Like,
I mean,
But you're just employing
you
other
kind
people
of-
yeah,
to do it with more clothes on.
yeah.
yeah. Get rid of the skimpy stuff because
Okay.
I mean,
yeah.
it doesn't have anything to do with the actual sport of it.
But it's part of the event.
It is, but I mean, I'm sure women around the
Yeah, we
country
probably
and around the world
I
will be
agree.
happy
probably
about
don't
it.
need it.
Yeah, exactly. It's
not
unnecessary for the
yeah,
fight.
it's not necessary.
It's
Um,
like cheerleaders though, or the
Yeah, it
the
is.
flag girls at F1.
Yeah, it is.
They got rid of those a few years ago.
Mm.
But you don't want to stop doing it.
I think you've
'cause
got to.
Depends.
some people
You've got to.
enjoy cheerleading. Like
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
and it's a
cheerleaders,
good,
yeah.
This isn't cheerleading though.
Yeah,
it's
but-
walking around in underwear.
Yeah, but you don't have to have them walking around in underwear. That's what I'm saying. You just
Mm.
you chuck some clothes on them, let them still do the same thing.
Yeah, that's 100% fine.
But don't just take away the whole.
I just think
opportunity
they're doing it
or
the wrong
whole
way at the
job.
moment. But
Mm.
anyway, can we talk about some rugby, please?
Rugby.
Because we didn't really get to talk about it last week, and I was
No, we didn't.
pretty gutted about that. honest.
Understandable.
To start us off, congratulations to Southport.
Yeah.
There you go. Now, I think Southport, they've been the best team this year. I wrote an article for Rugby News talking about how they're
Bit
probably
of a flex there.
one win away from being the best team in
Mm.
GPS history.
Yeah.
I think they
Mm.
actually mount a bit of a case.
Mm.
But no, they've at least secured the joint premiership by beating Terrace.
Yeah,
So
congratulations.
if they
Yeah.
lose this week and either BBC or Nudgee win out their seasons, then there could be a joint premiership. But
They've just been outstanding. There's no other words for it.
Yeah.
They've just continued to show up,
They've
shown
be-
that professionalism.
they've been
that-
massive.
That-
Mm.
yeah.
Massive.
Perfect.
There was one article though, and I'm a fan of your work, mate.
Did I write it?
You did. I'm
Oh.
a fan of it.
Oh, really?
I'm a fan of your work. It catches my
Author.
eyes on the LinkedIn.
Follow me on LinkedIn.
Why
I need more connections.
could have TGS beaten BBC and why couldn't have they? This was an article you wrote. What was the exact title?
He can't even remember.
No, you
I
can't.
can't remember it. It was a week ago. But
Yeah.
I thought basically TGS, they were due for a big performance. That was part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I was still pretty pessimistic, to be honest. I was still expecting BBC win. And at the end of the day, BBC got up. They smashed it 64-14.
Yeah, they killed him.
But still, if you want to know what I wrote in that article, go check
Okay,
it out.
okay. That's enough time for plugs.
And yet again, Campbell, grammar, lost. What's new?
Oh, it's tough. They were playing Nudgee. I mean, what can you expect?
it.
You say that every week, mate.
I know.
They were
I
playing Nudgee at Northgate. Northgate's not much of a fortress.
Yeah, but it's
That was-
nudgy as well. I mean,
You're not. I never saw BGS win in this game. I mean,
You're not-
Nudgee is just so far ahead.
Of who?
Nudgee,
Grammar.
BBC, and TSS.
I'll tell you what,
Those
though.
three sides are so far ahead
Oh
of the
yeah,
others.
100%.
It's just, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Grammar's been pretty good at getting the 3-4-3 out there. It's just not coming together on the field. Which there's those years for all teams, right? Probably more for Grammar than
3-4-3.
others. Yeah, that's how many. That's the capacity at Northgate. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those seasons. It's tough. Who knows what's going on? The players are all obviously great players. I've heard there's a lot of future talent in the squads, and especially in the 16As and stuff like that.
Is it a matter of coaching or?
I don't think it's for me to say.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be an issue with culture.
Yeah.
I know it wasn't really an issue in our year. Like, we actually had quite a good year in our year.
Mm.
That's 2017. But
Look,
I don't know.
I spoke
Every
to,
year's different.
again, for Rugby News, I spoke to Paul Warwick
Mm.
before the season started. He's the Grammar coach. And he was basically telling me that BGS weren't expecting to win every game,
Mm.
but they were expecting to be competitive, and I don't think they have.
Mm.
But it's a different culture compared to, say, your BBCs, your TSS.
You know, geez.
Exactly. They had a different mindset going into the season, and I still think they've fallen below their expectations.
Yeah, for sure.
But, yeah, I don't know.
They would have liked more from that season.
Oh, yeah.
We'll say that.
They
Well-
would have, but I don't think they were expecting to win a title.
No, they wouldn't have been.
That being
but-
said, this has still been very disappointing.
Mm.
And in the fourth game, Churchy got up over State High. Now, Churchy, 2 weeks ago, hadn't won a game. They've now won
Uh-huh.
two in a row.
So
So,
they're
that's
doing
tough.
well, ending the season in a positive note. So
Which is what you want.
on a
That's good.
high.
yeah,
on
on
a
a high. What are the games next week for GPS? We've got BBC and Nudgee. Wow,
BBC Nudgee.
Massive game.
that's going to be great. Ross Oval, it'll be packed.
Perfect.
It'll be packed. So
I love a bit of Ross Oval footy.
plenty of people down there. You
Well,
won't be able to find a park.
It's huge for
Yeah,
both
no, it's
sides
tough.
too. Huge for both sides because they won't know what's going to be happening in the TSS Ipswich game.
Though I'm pretty sure I know what
TSS
TSS will be
But again,
winning.
Mm.
They'll be going into that game going, look, if Ipswich, who is still a very good side, if they
Yeah.
can get up against TSS,
Mm.
then the winner of this game could have one hand on the trophy at the end of the season
Yeah. I mean-
alongside Southport.
You just need a few of those forwards to fire for Ipswich, and you
Yeah.
never know.
I mean, we were hyping up Ipswich at the start / middle of the season as quite one of our favourites because they put in some good performances. They were big, they were physical. Sam Walker's electric.
Yeah,
And I don't know what's happened.
they've just fallen off the radar.
One or two losses.
They played Nudgee and BBC in consecutive weeks. They lost those. They fell off from there. They lost to Churchy, again, who hadn't won a game all season
Mhm.
before that. And yeah, I don't know. They're looking to bounce back. They've had their bye, so maybe that's a bit of time to reflect and
Get a bit of rest.
gather themselves a bit, I think.
Get rid of those niggles.
Yeah.
Get
We'll also talk a bit about NRC, boys.
Yes.
The Brisbane City,
Fijian
22-all
draw.
draw.
Mm.
22-all draw.
What a game!
It was a good one.
Great.
Fraser McWright, skipper. Did you
Fraser
get
McWright.
a meat pie or no?
I don't think he did, no.
Ah, damn.
Gee, be happy with that in your first game.
No, look, again, Fiji, they are the defending champions.
Yeah,
But I still think Brisbane at home, they still would have wanted to start their season with a
Yeah.
win.
Oh, for sure.
It was Nick Chapman who scored
Oh, yeah.
quite late. But still, they would have wanted to win. Same can be said for Queensland Country. We have forgotten about you guys too.
No.
They lost to the Western Force, 50 points to 49.
jeez,
15,
4 to 49.
15 tries.
Jesus.
15 to 49.
Country were leading until the 74th minute, and then
Ooh.
were pipped and couldn't get the lead back.
What
So
a performance by Western Force at the death.
Wow.
yeah, should they be a Super Rugby team?
Nope.
We tried that.
Nope.
No.
Tried for 15, 20 years.
Yeah. The other game was the Canberra versus Melbourne Rising,
Mhm.
wasn't it? Canberra absolutely smashed them as well. They were just completely dominant. I was watching that one on KO.
KO Sports.
Sponsored.
And that sets up a
Um,
pretty good double header this week at
Mm.
Bond University. We've got Brisbane City and Queensland Country both in action
Mm.
against Sydney and Canberra. So get down or get up to Bond.
Get
down.
Get down
That
to
is down.
Bond. Or
Is it
get
down?
on to KO Sports. This is not sponsored by KO Sports, by the way. But Gus and I have it and Finn doesn't. So, yes, on that
Anyway,
note.
on that note, yes, we are done. If you haven't already, make sure you follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Check out the episodes on YouTube and Facebook or Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We're pretty much everywhere, aren't we, boys?
Yeah, we pretty much are. I mean, follow us on Instagram and all that jazz.
Yeah. It always helps. We want to get up to about 1,000 followers on Instagram soon.
State your goals
So we
to the
actually-
fans.
so we
State your
actually-
goals to the listeners. That's always
so
a
we
good way
have-
to go.
Can we hit 50,000? Anyway.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
And check out my LinkedIn.
Maybe. Or my LinkedIn.
Yeah, maybe.
Do you have a LinkedIn?
I think I do. I might need to update it.
Well-
It's not looking too flash.
Finn's quite active on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So, follow him
Anyway.
on LinkedIn.
On that note, thank you guys. See you next time.